Joining me now to talk more about tonight's debate is the CEO of DigiBuild, Robert Salvador. He is also a campaign surrogate for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Robert, thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Governor DeSantis is viewed as Mr. Trump's strongest challenger. He's consistently been in second place in nearly every poll, but has faced weeks of bad press, campaign shakeups, and has been criticized for his inability to connect with voters on a personal level. What does he need to do tonight to break through?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing to call out is what we've learned about polls, really from Donald Trump over the last 10 years, is they really mean nothing, especially this early. You know, it's the first inning of a baseball game right now. It's the first mile of a marathon. And so if you look in the past, for example, Senator Ted Cruz, Mike Huckabee, people who won Iowa or performed well in Iowa in the past, at this time in the past, were polling in single digits. So first of all, you cannot put much emphasis or thought into the polls right now. We learn that they are tools to manipulate people. Secondly, I think what you're seeing is, what really matters, especially to the DeSantis campaign, is the early polls, is the early states in Iowa, in New Hampshire. And the governor has been on the ground. He's been to almost half of the counties in Iowa thus far, and he's made a great showing in New Hampshire as well. So I think what you'll see tonight is the governor go out and introduce himself to the people nationally, to the American people who may not be paying attention to politics yet, or who may have only heard of Governor DeSantis in Florida and because of his response to COVID and standing up against the establishment. So I think the governor will go out, talk about his incredible record tonight, talk about how what he's doing in Florida is working, and his plan to bring that to the White House and stop the American decline.
Robert, tomorrow morning, what will success look like for you and Mr. DeSantis?
So I think success looks like, again, talking about all of the incredible things he's done in Florida. What do the American people care about nationally? They want a good economy. Florida has a top economy. They want the border to be secured. Florida has offered help and sent help to the border. They want to know that children are safe in schools and not going to be indoctrinated. Governor DeSantis has done that. And most importantly, the thing that, Donald Trump ran on in 2016 and 2020 is draining the swamp. Ron DeSantis just removed 2 Soros-backed corrupt DAs and a corrupt election official. So I think him telling those stories, telling the American people about that performance in Florida and telling them how Florida can be a great model for the United States to rebuild and become, the greatest country in the world again, I think that's what success looks like. And then I think also the governor will make it pretty clear to what a lot of people already know, which is it really is a two-person race. It's between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. Many of these others will eventually, fold in, and then I think we're really off to the races. So it's important to remember how early it is, and important to remember the governor's record versus Donald Trump's record, which is a lot of hot air and not necessarily performing and executing these promises he's made.
Robert, what do you say about this hot air? If we're talking about hot air from other candidates, how do you see hot air coming from, say, Governor Christie or Vivek and the others who are also vying for that nomination? Mr. DeSantis is at the top right now. Don't you expect him to be the target of the others?
Sure. So first of all, I think it's pretty clear that Ron DeSantis is running for the presidency, whereas others may be running for cabinet positions or, to get a cable news segment at some point. So I think if you look at previous elections, you will see a lot of those drop out. I think Vivek is interesting. He's a great speaker, but the problem there, and I think what is starting to come out in the media now, is anything he says right here, right now, there's a receipt or a screenshot or something from the last 5 years where he says the exact opposite. And so someone who is flip-flopping on every issue, I think that's dangerous today. We need someone, a politician, who actually gets things done, who says, I'm going to do this during the election, and I'm also going to get these things done so that they happen in Washington, D.C., as opposed to just, tweeting about it. So I think eventually they will all fold into Vivek.
I want you to know that must have been one woke branch coming after you there. I just saw that. And so,
the deep state.
Exactly.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.